Now the next object or next shape is this rod. So it's a thin uniform rod. So when I say thin uniform rod, that means I am saying that it has only length element, or length is so long as compared to the width, I can actually neglect the width, right? Okay, so now this rod, as I said earlier, it's thin uniform rod. That means mass per unit length, mass per unit area, mass per unit volume is constant. So if I consider this, as I said, thin, as soon as I see the word thin, so I'll have to neglect other dimensions. So I'll take, or I'll consider only mass per unit length. Just like in our previous example of disk, we have taken mass per unit area. In ring, we have taken mass per unit length. Here also we are taking mass per unit length. So if the total mass of the rod is m and the length is L, then this will be mass, that is m, divided by length, that is L. Right? Now, what do we have to do here? Again, just like we have done earlier, we have to consider a rod like this. So it's a thin straight rod, right? You can say a magnified version of that. But still we have not decided about which axis we are making it to rotate. The choice of axis can be anything. It may be rotating about this axis, or about this axis, or about this axis, and it may also rotate about this axis. But obviously, because we are saying it's thin, so we are not considering this axis. Let us say this is one of the cases, and in the center be the other case, that is the second case. Let's start with the one which is in the center itself. That is, consider a axis here which is, say, along y axis, and this will be your x axis, right? So suppose we have to find the moment of inertia of this. Now if I start from here, I'll take this, a small segment of the rod, right? This small segment will have, say, some length, that is dx. We are not considering the width, so there is no width here, only length of this small segment, that is dx. Let us say that this small segment is at distance x from the origin O. This is the origin, right? If the total length is L, and if this is in the center, then this total length is actually what? It is L by 2 on one section, on in one, this is the one half and this will be the second half. We are considering only here, right? Okay, now what will the mass per unit length, we have already seen that this is the mass per unit length. What is next? Next you have to find the mass of this small segment. Then you have to find the small or the di, that is the moment of inertia of this small segment about this axis, and then you have to integrate. So process remains same. So let's do that. The mass of this segment which we have to find will be what? It will be the mass per unit length into the length of this segment. So mass of this small segment of rod, right? What will be that? Let's say that is m, and that will be equals to the mass per unit length into the length, that is dx. So that is the mass. Is that clear? What do we have to do now? The di. What is di? Di is the moment of inertia of this segment about this axis. So the distance from this axis is what? X, and we know that this small moment of inertia will be equal to the mass of this segment into the distance, square of the distance. So that is nothing but x square, m into x square. What is this m? This m is m by L into dx. So the expression which we will get will be only in terms of x. I mean the variable will be only x. Now what do we have to do? We have to find the total moment of inertia. So total moment of inertia will be integration of di. That is, in this m by L is constant. So I'll take this m by L outside. It will be integration of x square dx. Now we have to apply the limits of what? Of x. Now see, x will vary here, but from where to where? You won't be able to write 0 to L because it is not 0 to L, it is only L by 2. This, I can say that this is plus L by 2 and this is minus L by 2. So the limits will be x equals to minus L by 2 to plus L by 2. So you will have to substitute that, plus L by 2 and minus L by 2. So now just integrate it. So if we integrate this, we'll get m divided by L, it will be still outside, and instead of x square's integration is x cube by 3, right? And plus L by 2 and minus L by 2. Actually, even this 3 now I can, for simplicity, to simplify it further, I can take this 3 outside, so that in here I have only x cube and 3 is here. So this is m divided by 3L into L cube divided by 8, right? L cube divided by 8 minus L cube divided by 8. So that will be actually L cube divided by 8. So total it will be m L cube divided by 3L into 4, because here it is L cube divided by 4. So what did we get? This L and L square, sorry, L cube. If you cancel it, you will get L square. So finally this I will be equal to, what will be this? This will be equal to ml square by 12. That is along the center, that is axis which will pass along the center. You will get ml square divided by 12, right? So I think that is clear. Now what else we have to find? Suppose we have to find something else. Okay, in the same rod, now what if I have to find the moment of inertia along this axis? So already we have moment of inertia along this axis. Suppose we know the moment of inertia along that axis. So what was this moment of inertia? This moment of inertia was along the center of mass, and I can say that here in this case the I along center of mass was equal to ml square divided by 12. Right? Okay. Now if I have to find moment of inertia along this axis, which is at one end, I can again start from the same way, the way we have done here. I can actually start doing in the same way, and if you do that, only difference which you have to see is that now the axis is here. Suppose we don't know this, right? We want to do it in the way of integration, then we have to start from here. That means we don't know the integration. Only difference which you will have is that now x will vary from 0 to L. Everything will remain same. Only thing is x will vary from 0 to 12. So here you have, right, that is m divided by L right? 3 we have taken out later. This is m divided by L. Integration of x square dx, but x varies from 0 to L. So if you solve it further, this is m divided by L, x cube divided by 3, 0, L. So this will be simply ml cube divided by 3L, or ml square divided by 3. Is it clear? So that is, if we start from scratch, that is, we are applying the integration method itself. That is also one of the way. And we also have seen in the previous cases that we can actually use, or we can actually apply the parallel axis theorem as well. We already know this, which passes, I mean, the moment of inertia along this axis, the axis which passes through the center of mass. That is, suppose we'll say that is IC. We have to find this along edge IE. So this IE will be nothing but the moment of inertia along center of mass plus m, this d square. And what is d? D is L by 2 whole square, right? So what is IC? That we have already found, that was ml square by 12 plus this will be ml square by 4. Simplify it, 12 LCM, ml square plus 3 ml square. Total it will be 4 ml square divided by 12. That is nothing but ml square divided by 3. So our answers or final expression is same, whether we derive it from scratch or we apply the parallel axis theorem. You can apply parallel axis theorem only if you know the moment of inertia along one axis, you already know, and that axis must pass through the center of mass. So for this is a prerequisite. So in your exam, if it is given that through the center of mass, moment of inertia is ml square by 12 in case of a thin rod. Now find out the moment of inertia along the axis which passes through the edge or through one of the ends. Then you will follow this method, and it will be a short answer type question. It won't carry full mark. I mean, it won't be a 4 or 5 mark or a 6 mark question. But if it is given that first derive the moment of inertia along the center and then find the moment of inertia along the end, then you will have to do this method and then parallel axis theorem. And if it is given that just derive the expression for moment of inertia of the thin rod about an axis at the end of the rod, then you will have to do this method. You will have to apply this method, that is from scratch you are finding, and you can judge this by the weightage that question has got in your exam paper or your question paper. So these were the two shapes, that is the rod, and before that we have already seen the disc, and before that we have seen ring. So 3 shapes we have done, that is ring, disc and rod. Now in the next classes we will see the sphere and cylinder. Okay, so for today that's all. We'll cover the rest of the shapes in the next class, right? So that's all.